Good day, everyone. I am Masnara Erazid, your presenter for the topic The Essence and Function of Literature. So, let me give you some brief definition of literatures. Even though we have already discussed about the definition of literature, but let me just start my report giving the brief definition of literature. So, the literature, the art of written work. It is any art form that uses language in either written or spoken form. It is often accompanied by the other form music, theater arts, and filmmaking, and etc. in varying degrees and combination to suit the references of a particular audience group. We know that literature play a big role in our lives because without literature, we don't have any knowledge about our history, our ancient, our mythology. So it is important to know what is literature. And because of that, there are functions um, that was formed, and these are the function of literature. So let me start from entertainment functions. It is known as a pleasure reading. In this function, literature is used to entertain its readers. So not everyone loves to read. So especially when it comes to literature. So for me, for my own opinion, I find or found literature entertaining. So, but not everyone find it uh, entertaining. So that is why the first function of it is to pleasure the reader, to attract the reader, so that the reader could continue reading the story or the literature that he was reading. So because some people really don't love reading. So for me, I find myself entertained when I already finish the book. Finishing the book that you are reading is a sign of uh, entertained. Is a sign that you are entertained because you finished the book. And sometimes, in my own experiences, when I finish reading the book, I tend to think why it happened that way. It's supposed to be in that way. Like you want your own ending when you are not satisfied to the ending of that story. And in that way of thinking, you are entertained because you put some opinion thinking about the story until it was end or until you finish the book. The second function is social and political function. Literature shows how society works around them. Literature helps the reader see the social and political construct around him or her and shows the state of the people as a word around him or her. So literature help us to to be updated about the social and political issues that the world is facing. Literature help us to be aware and have knowledge what is happening around us. That is one of the function of literature. Ideological function. Literature shapes our way of thinking based on the ideas of other people. Literature also displays a person's ideology, placed in the text consciously and unconsciously. Yes, it is true that it it shapes our way of thinking. Like we think when we learn about literature or we read books based on other people, we try to think. It helps us to think deeply based on what we are reading, and I think that is a advantage for us. The next one is the moral function. Literature may impart moral values to its reader. The moral contained in a literary text, whether good or bad, are absorbed by whoever reads it, thus help in shaping their personalities. Yes, when we read literature, the the moral values, or there are mixed values that is inside that books that you're reading. So it is depend on you if you want to learn about the good or bad, but mostly we appreciate the good values. So, and in this way, we can form in our self the good things or the bad things that might happen if we try to do those things that we have read in the books. And I think it's a good way that reading literature can also shape our personality and our way of uh, socializing to others. The next one is the linguistic function. Literature preserve the language of every civilization from where it is originated. Literature really also evidence that a certain has existed by recording the language and preserving it through wide spans of time. Yes, through literature, we learn that there are people that are really existing before us, and they had already their own civilization, like, and by that we learn that what we have right now may be because of our ancestor. Cultural function. Literature orient us to the traditions, folklore, and the art of our ethnic group's heritage. Literature preserves entire culture and create an imprint of the people's way of living for others to read, hear, and learn. So this is only a connection of the linguistic function. So literature help us to learn our own tradition and even the other traditions or even other people's traditions. We learn to preserve the other tradition that we learn to preserve our tradition so that the next generation have the idea what is what happened to the past. Next, educational function. Literature teaches us of many things about the human experience. Literature is used to portray the facet of life that we see and those that we would never dream of seeing. Yes, it is true. Literature teaches so many things. With literature teaches us what happened before and why, and it was applied to today's generation. We learn to see things that we thought it will not happen or it will not exist. But because of literature, we learn that things are really existing. And I think I think that is amazing because it makes the possible it makes the impossible to possible. For my own opinion, through literature, I learned that many things around the world is actually, I learned many things through reading literature. I learned the culture of other people or other country through reading. Like I don't have to be in that exact place or to interact with that people just to learn their traditions, their language, their way of living, because I could I could do that or I could learn that through reading only. And I think it is a beneficiary for the people the way the word is the word is happening, the way how the world is happening. And I am very happy that we have this kind of subject that will help us and learn more about literature. The next function is historical function. Ancient texts, illuminated script, stone, table, and etc. Keep a record of events that happened in the place where they originated. Yes, the function of literature is to for us to be to be aware or to be aware or learn about our history, because that is important. We've learned what we are came from, where we originated. So these are the two major functions of literature. Literature of power means that the function of literature as a power is to move the heart and mind of the readers. Yes, that's the biggest or the major function of literature, because of in my own experiences, literature helped me to appreciate things that I have and learn to understand the situation that the the word is the word is facing, and learn to be more uh, considerate and more sensitive, because there are some literature that are uh, that are made or that are made based on true happenings. And it is heartbreaking that there are things that happening in this world that you think it really didn't happen, but unfortunately it is really happening. So the second one, literature of knowledge, has function to teach. It means that literature gives particular values, messages, and themes to the readers. Yes, it is true. Through literature, we've learned many things in terms of values. We've learned what's the message of that book that we are reading, and we've learned the themes. So we tend to realize that literature has a big function to our lives. And that will be all. Thank you for listening. If you have any question, please raise it or just ask me to make it clarified. Thank you.